This video is for you, the one who's tired of feeling disconnected from yourself, sensing that something isn't working, but not yet knowing why. In this video, I'll show you exactly what you need to understand in order to unlock what's holding you back right now. You've already achieved things most people dream of: a good job, stability, maybe even recognition. But even with all of that, you still feel an emptiness you can't explain. It's like something essential is missing, as if your life is out of alignment with who you truly are. If any of this resonates with you, stay with me until the end. This might be exactly the message you needed to hear today. Today, we're getting straight to the point. Why real success doesn't come from the outside, and how reconnecting with your inner truth might be the key to a lighter, more meaningful, and more authentic life. This video is inspired by the teachings of Tony Robbins, but adapted with simple language, real-life examples, and deep questions that will help you look inward with courage and clarity. No empty motivational talk. This is practical awareness for your everyday reality. Do you feel like you're living on autopilot? Always busy doing, but unsure why you're doing it? Maybe you're tired of pretending everything's fine when inside you feel a quiet discomfort. If any of these questions echo within you, this video is your mirror. And the good news? The answer isn't out there. It's within. And you're about to discover how to access it step by step. There was a phase in my life when everything seemed to be working. I woke up early, stayed productive, hit goals, made plans. To everyone else, I was winning. But inside, something was off. It felt like running on a hamster wheel. Lots of movement, but going nowhere. It was a silent restlessness, a lack of meaning despite material achievements. I tried to ignore it by keeping even busier, but the more I did, the more disconnected I felt. I was tired, but I didn't know of what. Then I started asking myself, am I pursuing the right goals, or just the ones society applauds? I remember coming home after a long day, everything in order, but still feeling empty. It wasn't sadness, it was misalignment. It was like living a script I hadn't written. I once read that Viktor Frankl, psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, said humans can endure any pain as long as they have a why. And in that moment, I realized my why had vanished. I wasn't tired of the world. I was exhausted from living far from myself. The metaphor that best describes what I experienced is this. It was like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in it. The more achievements I poured in, the emptier my soul remained. I discovered this as a name. Psychology calls it empty success, a common phenomenon among those who reach external milestones without internal alignment. A study in the Harvard Business Review revealed that 80% of high-performing professionals, at some point, feel their work lacks meaning, even when admired. This slowly destroys motivation, not for lack of talent, but for lack of connection. Then I understood. True success isn't what you achieve, it's who you become in the process. I began revisiting my values, my whys, my boundaries. Instead of chasing more tasks, I sought more truth. I stopped focusing solely on growth and started focusing on alignment. It wasn't easy, but it was liberating. And that shift changed everything. I stopped trying to impress the world and started honoring who I truly am. This video you're watching today is born from that journey. And perhaps it's the mirror that helps you make peace with yourself too. The truth is, real success starts from the inside out. You might have status, followers, money, but if it isn't aligned with your values, it weighs you down. It doesn't fulfill. We live in a culture that equates personal worth with external performance. But behind many successful facades, there's an invisible emptiness. This is what we call empty success, when the achievement is there, but the fulfillment is not. This disconnect between how you live and what you truly value is silent, but destructive. It erodes meaning, even when everything seems right. And often we only notice when we're already exhausted. A study by the London School of Economics analyzed over 20,000 people and discovered that emotional well-being is far more linked to the quality of relationships and purpose than to income or professional status. In other words, external success may impress, but it doesn't sustain the soul. Moreover, the research showed that people who prioritize happiness as a life goal, rather than performance, have greater emotional stability and mental health. Here's the twist. It isn't success that brings purpose. It's purpose that gives success its meaning. And if you don't know why you're running, any trophy will feel insufficient when you achieve it. This is where the silent existential crisis hits many winners. People who made it there and thought, is that it? Because the path they followed was outside of their core. Psychology calls this internal incongruence, living in opposition to one's true identity. Carl Rogers, one of the greatest humanistic psychologists, said that when there's a gap between the real self and the ideal self, suffering arises. And that's the discomfort that many feel, without even knowing its name. The discomfort of being distant from oneself, even while standing in what the world admires. The most curious thing is that when you begin aligning your life with your values, even external results improve, but now with ease. That's because motivation no longer stems from fear of failure or the need to prove something, but from a place of authenticity. And that changes everything. Neuroscience has already shown that living in coherence with what you believe activates brain regions linked to clarity, focus, and emotional balance. Living from the inside out isn't utopia. It's neuroefficiency. And internal alignment stops being a luxury and becomes a life strategy. That's why the most important phrase here is, you don't need to conquer more, you need to reconnect. And reconnecting means remembering who you were before the world told you what to be. It's reconnecting with what truly matters, not just what yields returns. In the end, success isn't about having more, it's about living with truth. And when truth enters the process, results stop being a prison and start being a reflection. What you're looking for might not be out there. It might just be inside you, waiting to be remembered. There is an invisible cycle that silently governs our results. And it all begins with identity. What you believe yourself to be determines how you think, act, and respond to the world. Tony Robbins calls this the inner success cycle. Identity, beliefs, actions, results, reinforcement of identity. In other words, what you believe about yourself shapes everything else. If you see yourself as insecure, weak, or unworthy, that identity generates limiting beliefs. And these beliefs don't stay in your head. They shape your daily choices, boundaries, and behavior. Imagine someone who believes, I will never succeed. This identity triggers the belief that failure is inevitable. The result? They hesitate, procrastinate, avoid challenges, and end up unwittingly creating their own obstacles. When the results are poor or mediocre, they reinforce the original identity. See, I'm not capable. And so the cycle repeats. This happens to people trying to lose weight, change careers, or improve relationships. The point is, real change doesn't start with action. It starts with how you see yourself. Now imagine the opposite. Someone who chooses to assume a new identity. I am resilient, I am disciplined, I am worthy of success. This newfound identity triggers empowering beliefs. Even in the face of obstacles, they act with clarity, strength, and direction. They may still fail, but recover more quickly because they are nurturing a positive cycle. A healthy identity fuels consistent actions, which bring good results, which in turn fortify that new internal identity. Real change happens when you realize that acting differently is the result of being different inside. Neuroscience has confirmed that the brain is more focused, persistent, and motivated when actions are tied to a positive identity. This means the secret isn't just about doing more or better, but about changing how you define yourself. That's why instead of saying, I'll try to be more confident, try saying, I am someone who acts with confidence. The difference is subtle, but it changes everything. The mind seeks to align behavior with identity. If you change the root, how you see yourself, the fruit changes too. Your behavior, your boundaries, and your results. So here's a challenge I leave you with. What identity are you unconsciously feeding? That of a small person who only reacts to the world? or that of someone who creates their own path. The inner success cycle is always in motion, whether you direct it or not. The choice is to interrupt the old pattern and step into a new definition of yourself. It's not magic, it's emotional consistency applied with intention. And it all starts with a simple decision. Who do I choose to be from today forward? Because when you change who you are, everything you do and everything you receive changes. Most of our lives are lived on autopilot. We repeat patterns, decisions, and routines as if hypnotized, without questioning if they still make sense. The good news? This cycle can be broken with a simple tool: powerful questions. The right questions act like lights in a dark room. They don't tell us what to do, but they reveal what's hidden. That's why, before searching for new answers, maybe it's time to ask new questions. And the first is, are you living what you believe or what you were taught to believe? This question can shake your foundations, but it can also set you free. Think, are your dreams truly yours, or were they planted? Is your career, lifestyle, or the goals you're chasing an expression of your true essence, or a reflection of external expectations? Many people are running after achievements they never consciously chose. They wake up, work, fight, but deep down they feel off their own path. The second question acts like a mirror. Are your achievements truly yours, or are they your ego trying to prove something to others? When ego leads, we live with anxiety. When the soul leads, we live with purpose. This disconnect between what we do and what we truly want is one of the leading causes of silent dissatisfaction. And we can only escape it when we start listening to ourselves more honestly. That's why the third powerful question is, what would you do if you didn't need to prove anything to anyone? This question removes the weight of performance and uncovers your genuine desire. Perhaps you'll realize you want to simplify, change course, or even slow down. But that only surfaces when the noise of should quiets, and the voice of being finally has room to speak. These questions aren't comfortable. They weren't designed to please, but to awaken. When you begin to reflect honestly, you access parts of yourself that were dormant. And sometimes the pain that arises is precisely the pain of not living in coherence. But this pain is an invitation to healing, not guilt. The initial discomfort is a symptom that something is ready to be transformed. And that's exactly where the true journey begins. When you stop asking, what do I have to do? And start asking, who do I choose to be? Inner transformation begins with awareness. And awareness begins with questioning. There's no evolution without deconstruction. And there's no freedom without self-honesty. Deep questions don't solve everything, but they are keys that unlock doors you didn't even know were closed. So here's my challenge. Write these questions down. Sit with them. Let them disturb you just a bit, because discomfort houses truth. And from that truth arises the clarity to build a life that's truly yours. From the inside out, many people talk about living with purpose, but few take the time to understand what that really means. Living with purpose isn't an abstract concept. It's a daily practice of aligning what you do with who you choose to be. And that alignment begins with the simple question: what values guide your life? Values lie at the core of our identity. They act like an internal GPS. If you ignore them, you get lost. If you honor them, everything falls into place more smoothly and clearly. Yet most people have never consciously defined their own. So here's a practical and powerful tool. Grab paper and pen and write down the 3 values you admire most. Don't just pick what sounds good or expected. Think about what genuinely makes your heart beat. Freedom, honesty, connection, growth, responsibility, spirituality. There's no right answer, only what's true for you. Now look at these 3 values and ask yourself honestly, is my life today honoring these values? This simple, direct question reveals immediately where you're aligned and where you're betraying yourself. This exercise is powerful because it brings clarity in minutes. Often internal discomfort isn't caused by doing something wrong, but by neglecting our own principles. When you live out of sync with what you believe, you create silent tension, emotional friction. It drains energy, causes anxiety, and disconnects you from your vital force. But when you start making decisions based on these values, Even the simplest tasks gain purpose. Alignment doesn't demand perfection. It demands presence and intention. Now here's the key that can change everything. Success doesn't start with what I want to have, but with who I want to become. When you focus only on external results, your motivation wavers with circumstances. But when you align your journey with your values, you gain consistency. You no longer rely on motivation. You have direction. This tool isn't just an exercise. It's the starting point for a new way of living, a way that's lighter, more coherent, and more powerful in how you move through the world. So, if you want to change your results, start by changing what lies behind them. Do this exercise now. It takes less than 5 minutes, but it can open a new awareness about yourself. Because when you live based on your values, every step has meaning. And meaning is what sustains real success. It's not about doing more. It's about doing with truth. That's the foundation of everything that lasts. That's the foundation of real growth. Alignment between who you are and who you choose to be. If this resonated with you, leave a comment with the word alignment. I want to know who's with me on this journey back to self. Share this video with someone who needs to remember they're more than their results. And of course, if you haven't subscribed yet, this channel is a space of consciousness and expansion. Hit the bell to continue this journey. If you've made it this far, it means something inside you is ready to change. In this video, we discussed what truly sustains success. Internal alignment between identity, values, and purpose. We saw that real success starts from the inside out, that it's not enough to conquer. You must reconnect. We explored the inner success cycle. Identity shapes beliefs, which shape actions and results. We reflected on questions that break autopilot and contrasted ego-driven success versus soul-led success. And finally, we learned a simple tool to align life with our deepest values. Now the question remains, are you living a life that represents who you truly are or what the world expects you to be? That's the invitation. Take this reflection beyond the video. It's not about seeking more, but about removing the excess and returning to essentials. If you have the courage to look inward, you've already started the transformation. So here's a challenge. Write down today the 3 values you admire most and see if your daily actions align with them. Small practices like this create big change when done consistently and intentionally. I want to hear from you. What insight, practice, or point from this video moved you most? Leave your answer in the comments. Sharing your experience can help others who are undergoing the same awakening process. And if you want to go deeper, let me know which question you'll reflect on most in the coming days. This space is a community of awareness and expansion, and your voice matters. Let's grow together with authenticity and truth, step by step. If this content made sense to you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and of course, give it a thumbs up. It not only helps the channel grow, but it ensures you continue to receive videos of this depth and purpose. Every new piece of content here is created with intention to support your path of self-discovery, clarity, and evolution. And if you want to go even further, share this video with someone who needs to hear this message today. Before you go, I highly recommend watching the previous video where I talk about how you can eliminate your limiting beliefs. It perfectly complements everything we covered here. It also dives into how to find direction when your life feels confusing. In the channel playlist, you'll find other videos with practices, provocations, and reflections to help you live with more presence and purpose. Because the journey from inside out is ongoing, and the more you know yourself, the stronger and freer you become. This journey is just beginning. Don't miss the previous video that will help you transform your life immediately by clicking this link.